Have you ever bought something so ordinary, so insignificant that you almost forgot about it until it turned your life upside down? That's exactly what happened to me on a Saturday morning in a sleepy American suburb at a garage sale that looked like every other one I had ever seen. Rows of dusty lamps, boxes of old VHS tapes, piles of used clothes, and toys missing half their parts. The kind of stuff people drag out when they're cleaning their basements. Nothing special, nothing worth remembering. But in the corner, half hidden under a stack of yellowed newspapers, I noticed a laptop, an old one, the kind you'd expect to see in an office from the early 2000s, bulky, scratched, with a faded Dell logo. A sticky note was taped to the lid. $10. Works fine. 10 bucks. I wasn't even looking for a laptop, but something about it pulled me in. Maybe it was nostalgia. Maybe it was the thought of having a backup computer. I handed the seller a crumpled $10 bill and walked away with it under my arm, thinking nothing more of it. If only I knew what was inside. At first glance, it was exactly what I expected. Slow, outdated, running on Windows XP, the kind of computer you'd expect someone's grandfather to use. But when I opened the Documents folder, I froze. It wasn't filled with boring tax files or family photos. No, this laptop was a graveyard of secrets. There were hundreds of folders, each named with a single date. Some went back as far as the late 1990s. Others were from just a few months ago. Out of curiosity, I clicked on the earliest one, 03-14-1998. Inside were dozens of text files, each labeled with a name. I opened one at random. It was a detailed, minute-by-minute account of someone's day, when they woke up, what they ate, what route they took to work, even how long they spent in the bathroom. I frowned. Weird. Maybe someone's old diary project? But then I checked the next file, and the next, and the next. Every single one was the same, a disturbingly precise surveillance log of someone's life. Not just one person, dozens, hundreds, different names, different locations. I scrolled faster, my heart starting to race. This wasn't random. Someone had been watching people for decades. My hand shook as I opened a folder from 2005. This one had photos, blurry, low-resolution shots of people sitting in diners, walking to their cars, kissing their kids goodbye before school. Some were clearly taken through windows. Some looked like hidden camera shots inside homes. My stomach turned. I slammed the laptop shut, staring at it on my desk like it was radioactive. What the hell did I just bring into my house? For a long time, I didn't touch it. I wanted to throw it away, smash it, pretend I never saw it. But the more I tried to ignore it, the more it haunted me. Curiosity gnawed at me. Who was behind this? Why were these files here? A week later, late at night, I gave in. I opened the laptop again. This time, I scrolled to the most recent folder, 04-12-2023, just a few months ago. And that's when I stopped breathing, because the name on that file was mine.
When I first saw it, I thought maybe I was hallucinating. Maybe I was sleep deprived. Maybe my eyes blurred from staring at the screen too long. But no, there it was, plain as day. A folder titled with my full legal name. I clicked it. Inside were dozens of files. The earliest was from 2015, 8 years before I even bought the laptop. The most recent was dated just 3 weeks ago. The first file opened like all the others I had seen, time-stamped notes. At 7:34 a.m., subject wakes up, sits on edge of bed for 2 minutes, checks phone. At 7:41, subject enters bathroom, shower water running. At 8:16, subject leaves house wearing blue hoodie, black jeans. I stared at the screen, a chill spreading through me. How? In 2015, I was a college student living in a dorm. Who could have been writing this down? And why? My pulse pounded in my ears as I scrolled further. Each day was cataloged: what I ate, what I watched, who I talked to, what time I fell asleep. Then I opened the file from April 2020, the night I stayed up drinking alone in my apartment during lockdown. The notes described everything, down to the fact that I dropped my glass, shattered it, and didn't clean it up until the next morning. There was no way anyone could have known that. No one had been there. No one saw me. Unless someone was watching. By the time I reached the newest file, my hands were trembling so badly I could barely control the mouse. The last entry read, July 27th, 2023, 2:11 a.m. Subject currently viewing file on laptop. Subject appears unsettled, heart rate elevated, keeps glancing over left shoulder, paused reading for 2 minutes at 2:08 a.m. I froze. My chair felt like it was glued to the floor. Slowly, almost against my will, I turned my head to the left. Nothing. Just the dark corner of my bedroom. But that line, keeps glancing over left shoulder, it had been written while I was doing it. This wasn't old surveillance. This wasn't history. It was live. I slammed the laptop shut so hard the desk rattled. My chest heaved as I backed away, staring at it like it was some venomous animal. Questions swirled in my head. Is there a hidden camera inside? Is someone remotely controlling it? Am I being hacked right now? I yanked the power cord from the wall, ripped the battery out, and shoved the laptop into the closet, burying it under a pile of clothes. For the first time in years, I slept with the lights on. But sleep didn't come easily. Every creak in the walls, every passing car outside, every shadow across my blinds felt like proof that someone was watching me. The next morning, I tried to convince myself it was all a prank. Maybe some elaborate ARG someone forgot about. Maybe the live entry was just a creepy coincidence. Maybe I was paranoid. But when I opened my phone, there was a new message in my inbox. No subject line, no sender name, just one sentence. You shouldn't have looked at the laptop.
I didn't reply to the email. I didn't forward it. I didn't tell anyone. Because how could I? What would I even say? Hey, someone sent me a creepy message after I found surveillance notes on my mystery laptop. They'd think I was insane. So I did what any terrified, half-rational person would do. I tried to pretend it wasn't real. For a day or two, I convinced myself I was safe. I threw the laptop in the trash bin outside, double-bagged so nobody could see it. I even took a different route to work just to shake the paranoia. But the feeling never left. You know that sensation when you're being stared at? That itch in the back of your neck? I felt it constantly. On the third night, I woke up at 3:12 a.m. to the sound of my phone buzzing. Unknown number. I hesitated, then answered. Nothing. Just silence. Hello? My voice cracked. And then a faint sound. Breathing. Slow. Rhythmic. I hung up and threw the phone across the bed, my skin prickled with goosebumps, my chest rising and falling like I'd run a marathon. The next morning, I found something outside my apartment door. A plain white envelope. No address, no name, just taped to the doorframe. Inside, a single printed photo. It was me, taken from across the street the night before. I was standing in my window holding my phone to my ear. The timestamp at the bottom read, 3:12 a.m. My stomach lurched. I bolted the door, pulled the blinds shut, and sat with my back against the wall for what felt like hours. When I finally worked up the courage to go outside, I noticed something I hadn't before. Across the street, parked in the same spot for 3 days in a row, was a black SUV. Windows tinted darker than legally possible. Engine always off, but never moving. Coincidence? Maybe, but I knew better. That evening, I decided to test it. I left my apartment and started walking. No destination in mind.
A few blocks down, I turned quickly into an alley, hiding behind a dumpster. 2 minutes later, the SUV rolled past. I held my breath, my palms slick with sweat. They weren't even trying to hide it anymore. When I got back home, shaken, I noticed my laptop bag lying on the floor near the closet. Not the one I'd trashed, my current laptop, the one I used for work. I hadn't touched it all day, but it was unzipped, slightly open. Inside was a sticky note. 4 words, written in neat, blocky handwriting. Stop trying to run. My legs nearly gave out. I sat down on the floor, my heart hammering so loud it drowned out every other thought. This wasn't random. This wasn't a prank. Whoever they were inside my apartment. Watching wasn't enough anymore. Now, they wanted me to know it.
I didn't sleep that night. I couldn't. Every sound in the apartment felt amplified. The hum of the refrigerator, the creak of pipes, the occasional shuffle of footsteps in the hallway. Except, what if those weren't neighbors? By 5 a.m., I'd made up my mind. I had to leave. Not later, not tomorrow, now. I stuffed a backpack with essentials. Passport, cash, my phone. I didn't even pack clothes, just survival. As I reached for the door handle, I froze. Someone had slid something under the door. It was a flash drive, black, unlabeled. My gut told me to burn it, throw it out the window, anything except plug it in. But curiosity is a parasite. It eats at you until you can't ignore it anymore. I slipped it into my laptop. The screen went black. Then a video began to play. At first, I didn't understand what I was looking at. Grainy night vision footage. A bedroom. My bedroom. Me. I was asleep. The camera angle shifted as if someone was moving, circling my bed. A shadowy figure stood in the corner, motionless, watching me breathe. Then, with a sharp tilt, the lens focused directly on my face. The date in the corner read, "Last night." My chest constricted, my throat dry like sandpaper. I slammed the laptop shut and hurled it across the room. My phone buzzed again, another unknown number. This time I didn't answer. Instead, a voicemail appeared almost instantly. My hands trembled as I pressed play. It was my own voice, me, breathing, whispering. "Don't run. You already belong to us." I dropped my phone, my mind spiraling. How? When? That wasn't possible. Unless I felt a shift in the air behind me. Not a sound, not a shadow, just presence. Slowly, I turned. Someone was standing inside my apartment. No mask, no hood, just an ordinary man in a plain suit. Average, forgettable, the kind of face you wouldn't remember if you passed it on the street. He smiled. "Leaving already?" he asked softly. My body locked, adrenaline flooding every nerve. My eyes darted toward the door, but before I could move, he stepped closer, sliding something across the table. Another envelope. With shaking hands, I opened it. Inside wasn't a threat, no photo, no note. It was a contract. My full name typed neatly at the top, pages of dense legal text below, and at the bottom, a signature line already filled in. My signature, exactly how I write it. "I don't understand," I whispered. "You don't need to," he replied. His voice was calm, almost fatherly. "You agreed long ago. You just don't remember." My head spun, my vision blurred. None of this made sense. And then the lights flickered. When they came back on, he was gone. The envelope gone. The flash drive gone. I was alone. Or maybe I wasn't. Because on my laptop screen, cracked from the throw, a final message glowed in red letters, pulsing slowly like a heartbeat. This is only the beginning. And then the screen went black.